Well, for tonight it's me. It's a great pleasure to have my good friend Dr. Brian Ardis with us. Most of the time we've spent in the last 2 years backstage at events talking to each other, and this is the first opportunity I've had to actually talk to you on camera, which is lovely.
This is the first time. Usually we're backstage somewhere in a green room somewhere, going through each other's wallets, checking out your solid gold credit card and debit card, and talking about that stuff. That's usually what we're doing somewhere around the world.
Oh, boy. Yeah, what a journey. And for my audience, Brian was one of the first doctors to come out and point out what was going wrong, and was very vocal about it and stood up for it, and has been traveling all over the States talking about it and going to court, standing up in front of courts and testifying that what they were doing, in very simple layman's terms, is nothing more than genocide. And what we're living through right now is a Holocaust.
Absolutely, 100%. So you were just talking off air about testifying in the chambers of Parliament there in England, and I guess it's England. I actually, 2 years ago, when Boris Johnson resigned, the day he resigned as prime minister, all these people around the world started looking at lawsuits that were being filed against Boris Johnson in the days leading up to his resignation. This is just an example of some of the stuff Charlie's doing, Dr. Ardis is doing, what I'm doing. It's just been a heavy lift and a monumental effort to try to protect innocent humans around the world. People found out when they were looking up these documents and there was 2 lawsuits that landed on Boris Johnson's desk in back-to-back days leading up to his resignation. Yeah. On both of those lawsuits, I was signed on as an expert witness against him for murdering people in nursing homes all over the UK. 45,000 people in March and April of 2020. I was signed on as an expert witness to testify against Boris Johnson in court. Then I was signed on with a guy named Stuart White, who's a medical doctor, medical student in the UK, who is not allowed to go back to med school without a vaccine certificate. And I was the expert witness signed on to that one too, that day before he resigned. And a lot of people started contacting me. No one even knew I did this. I was just signing on, trying to help as much as possible, save as many lives as possible. Just another thing in the middle of everything else I was doing. It was shocking to a lot of media personalities to go through those documents and see that I was signed on as the only American doctor on 2 lawsuits on back-to-back days before the day he resigned. Yeah. Now, I never told anybody that I did it and I was responsible for his resignation, but there were a lot of us, including you, Charlie, who were doing stuff behind the scenes, trying to help as many people as possible articulate the crimes that are being committed all around the world. I had, at that point, only flew through the London airport one time. So what did London mean to me? I had gotten to meet a whole lot of people, including John O'Looney, the coroner there in England, who very soon after I started speaking about the remdesivir protocols was blowing the whistle that the chief coroner of the country was demanding that all coroners in the UK write down COVID-19 deaths and all these nursing home dead people who never had COVID. And what we found, and I've actually done many interviews with many attorneys in the UK who were filing on behalf of these loved ones and their families who were murdered using midazolam and morphine injections to kill them and call it COVID. And then to only learn in some of these interviews that the UK had bought millions of dollars in preparation for the midazolam poisoning called COVID. They were buying up tons of midazolam, more than they ever had, brought into the UK from France and Europe, brought it in right in time to take military personnel and go into these nursing homes and kill all these people with a lethal injection that includes ingredients that in America, states have actually protested to have ingredients taken out of the lethal injections on death row and prison inmates. The drug they demanded in most of the states in America to take out the drug in the lethal cocktail for people on death row is midazolam, because the witnessing effects of the trauma of the toxicity of midazolam in the human body, even of prisoners on death row that deserve it, it was so upsetting to the people witnessing the death of these peoples, the states demanded midazolam had to be taken out of the lethal cocktail for 90% of all states in the United States. That's what the UK was actually pumping into the veins of innocent elderlies in nursing home and assisted living homes to kill 45,000 people in March and April of 2020, and then published in the media for all of you to be scared to death that people are dying from COVID in nursing homes. It's time to social distance. It's time to lock down. It's time to mandate. It's time to introduce a vaccine savior. And all of it was set up with a death protocol in the UK using midazolam and morphine. In America, it was using a drug called remdesivir and sedation drugs for the vent that included morphine, midazolam, fentanyl, Precedex, and a drug called lorazepam, all of which are sedation drugs that paralyze you and kill you.
Yeah. And
so it's been a very heavy lift and a busy time.
It is, but the worst part about it is they knew what they were doing. And that's the worst part about it. These politicians who were out there saying one thing on television, and now we've got the WHO, this Dr. Tedros saying, we didn't push anybody to have the vaccine. And I'm like, you should watch a video of yourself, because quite clearly you laid out that people had to do it to stay in their jobs, had to do it to travel, had to do it to go to work, had to do it for this, that, and the other. And
to spend time with your family on holiday. Yeah, they told you that. Yeah, exactly. They told you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They also told corporations, if you don't vaccinate all your employees, we will fine you every single day you don't.
Yep.
No, so they didn't make you do it. They're right. They didn't make you. They just made your life really difficult to travel, be with family, go to work, make a living without accepting their bribe and coercion and bullying. It's pretty disgusting.
And it's very interesting how all the pilots who take this elite group of people that they call themselves to Davos, they insist that they're not vaccinated.
Amazing.
Yeah. You can't.
But all of us that want to travel on a plane commercially anywhere in the world, we have to get on planes where the pilots were coerced, bullied, and mandated to get these vaccines.
Yeah.
Interesting. Then they want us to board those planes and fly all over the world. Pretty ridiculous.
It is.
What a bunch of hypocrites, Charlie. I call that hypocritical. That's what I call it. Hypocrites.
That's exactly what it is. And we had the figures yesterday put out from the United Kingdom that, and this is a very, very sad twist on it, that 74% of women that get pregnant that have been vaccinated are miscarriaging.
Can I talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
Just in case there's somebody watching who's brave and has connections and is a medical professional or scientist of any kind. This is very important. Inside of, there was this narrow period of about 2 years where the whole world called me the remdesivir guy.
Yeah.
Now they call me the snake venom guy. Now they call me the nicotine guy. I want to say something to everybody out there. If you're not paying attention to the venom aspect of COVID, you might want to start, even though it's over. But they're going to keep pushing these booster shots.
Yeah.
What do you need to know about the booster shots, Charlie? Did you know that the people who actually created the mRNA COVID-19 shots, did you know they just got the Nobel Prize in medicine?
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
All right, so these two individuals' names, for those of you that don't know who created the mRNA technology, and you might be confused because some other troll guy was telling the whole world he invented them. He did not. There are two people at the University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Their names are Katalin Kariko and Drew Wiseman.
Okay.
And these two individuals work at the University of Pennsylvania in the United States. Katalin Kariko is trained in Europe. These two people in October just won the Nobel Prize in medicine for inventing the COVID-19 vaccines. Now, 2 years ago to the month, I came out with a documentary with Stu Peters called Watch the Water.
Yeah.
I told everybody, y'all better be careful in that thing. I said, just so you know, in the COVID-19 vaccines, there is snake venom in the shots.
Yeah.
The two people, and I told the whole world in that documentary, the two people that created these shots, they work at the University of Pennsylvania. I will remind you of their names, Katalin Kariko and Drew Wiseman, if you want to go look them up. These two people just won the Nobel Prize for inventing the said shots. In every paper I showed them in the Stu Peters documentary, my COVID-19 documentary, Mike Adams interviews, I showed everybody. In every one of these people that just won the Nobel Prize, by the way, people, these two people in every paper since 2009 state that they are being funded by the NIH and Anthony Fauci's department to manufacture mRNA gene therapy shots. Is there anybody in this audience who is confused that the COVID-19 shots are mRNA gene therapy shots? And the two people that made these things just got the Nobel Prize for making the COVID-19 shots. Okay. In every one of their papers, they say to do mRNA gene therapy, we have to use in the shot snake venom phosphodiesterase to cut your RNA to do our gene editing. Okay. Now, it's in every paper since 2009, 2011, 2012, 2013, 14, all the way till now. Do you know what the number one side effect of snake venom phosphodiesterase is, which is the snake venom protein in the COVID-19 shots? Do you know what its number one published side effect is? Even in the medical journal called Bentham Science, they state the number one side effect of this snake venom protein used in the COVID-19 shots is rapid, I'm quoting here, rapid platelet aggregation. Does anyone out there know what that means?
Blood clotting?
Blood clotting. And what do we call these blood clotting shots? We call them clot shots, okay?
Yeah.
So now you know why it's generating blood clots. They put snake venom phosphodiesterase that's published to cause blood clotting in a snake bite victim, but they're injecting inside of you in a false fang called a syringe. That's what they're doing. They're just injecting you with it. All right, so this is important when it gets to the miscarriages.
Yeah.
Charlie, did you know that they publish patents for vaccines that contain a snake venom component called L-amino acid oxidase? It's abbreviated LAAO, or even shorter, LAO. It's called L-amino acid oxidase. I need to explain something to your audiences real quick. 74% of people pregnant are getting these shots and miscarrying.
Yeah.
Do you know that they have patents on vaccines for viruses of all kind, flu shots? I'm not joking. Gardasil shots for HPV virus. I mean, all kinds of vaccines have, they suggest, L-amino acid oxidase from snake venom in it, and they say that it's an antiviral component of their venom. And they're already making vaccines with that in it. Did you know that L-amino acid oxidase from this snake venom causes death of syncytium cells? And they say that it kills syncytium cells, and that is spelled Syncytium. Syncytium cells, guess what they're in charge of, Charlie, in the human female body that's pregnant? Guess what its job is, these cells? Their job is to produce in your placenta a hormone called progesterone.
Okay.
And if you look it up, progesterone is called the pregnancy hormone. If you kill syncytium cells with L-amino acid oxidase, you kill syncytium. Syncytium's death of that cell doesn't allow it to produce progesterone from the cells called syncytiotrophoblasts. Syncytium becomes syncytiotrophoblast, and for the second and third trimesters of the entire pregnancy, the only cells in the body making progesterone to maintain the pregnancy so you don't lose the baby in miscarriage is progesterone coming from the syncytium-made syncytiotrophoblast. This L-amino acid snake venom component they published that is in vaccines for viruses for decades. They state it kills syncytium cells. If you inject that inside of somebody, you no longer can produce progesterone, and guess what happens to the pregnancy? You abort the baby and miscarry. Yeah. This is how they're doing this. They are orchestrating infertility and miscarriages and further death and depopulation, like we mentioned off air. They are freaking killing people. It's ridiculous. And infertilizing them and making them lose their pregnancies. I want to suggest to anybody watching this, if you are a couple and are struggling to get pregnant, or you yourself got the COVID-19 vaccines and lost your baby, I would recommend you go to your OBGYN in any country in the world and demand them order a test. The test is called an L-amino acid assay test. And with urine or blood sample, all it does is identify if this snake venom's in your body. And I can tell you exactly how to destroy that venom and get it out of your body so you can get a healthy pregnancy in the future, because they tell you how to do that. They tell you there's a certain heat that will destroy that protein in the human body. Zinc will destroy that actual protein from venom and remove it from the body. And there's another herb that will actually kill it off and remove it from your body. There's a synthetic thing called EDTA. It's a chemical that detoxes metals. It destroys L-amino acid oxidase. There's ways of getting it out of your body and restoring your body back to full function the way God designed you, which was to repopulate and replenish the earth. That's what your job was. Man and women did not forget how to give birth. There's a reason why 1 in 3 couples in America cannot have children anymore without in vitro fertilization in a lab. And there's a reason why 1 in 2 Canadian couples can't get pregnant anymore. It's the most basic, fundamental action of the human body is to procreate. So the fact that it can't do that, just remember, Bill Gates and his Gavi group have actually gone into Africa and India under the guise of vaccines for viruses and actually injected them with chemicals to cause infertility. That was the whole game. And they were kicked out and banned out of India, their Gavi Institute, for doing just this. So this is what they're doing with vaccines. Anybody who's ever gotten a Gardasil shot as a teenager, middle school kid, you most likely had L-amino acid oxidase injected inside of you to stop you from getting pregnant in the most fertile part of your life, which is teenagers to young adulthood, which is up to 26 years old. So anybody who's struggling to get pregnant, tell your medical doctor to order an L-amino acid oxidase test. And when it comes back positive, you need to contact the Dr. Ardis show, and I'll tell you how to destroy all of it and get you back to full health where you can actually have a baby and maintain that pregnancy. The problem with venom, this is very important. Venom doesn't leave the human body for 10 years unless you go detox it and put stuff into the body to remove it. It'll just stay there, and you can create diseases and illness or infertility for 10 years at a minimum. And as long as you get another shot within those 10 years, you give another 10 years of infertility. And this is a way to depopulate the planet, destroy you, and rob you the ability to have a family.
And for anybody trying to get hold of Dr. Brian Ardis, I'll put the link in down below, because this is both Brian and myself are out there fighting to save humanity and to save this. We're living in a genocide. We're living through a Holocaust. Some people don't like that word. Some people feel offended by it. You can feel offended for all I care. I don't care about people feeling offended. This is real. There are people being killed, and people are not standing up. People are dying in your families, and you're going, well, they were getting old anyway. Oh, they can't have babies. They had a stillborn baby. It was just bad luck and this, that, and the other. No, it's not. And you need to start asking questions. Too many people have got complacent. They've put their trust in the mainstream media. They put their trust in the medical profession. They put their trust in their governments, and it's been misplaced. We found out that they've been lying to us. It was not as easy. It wasn't easy for Brian or myself to accept the fact, especially for Brian being a medical doctor, finding out that he'd been misled. And there are many other doctors. I've got Dr. Peter McCulloch on next week. I've had Dr. David Martin. All these doctors have all had to get rid of their pride issues and go, what we were told was wrong. We've actually found out this. We're prepared to stand up and say, we were taught wrong, but we've now found out this and putting things right. And I take my hat off to every single one of you for having the courage and strength of character to go out there and tell the truth in a very difficult time, because the World Health Organization, the people who are supposed to govern this, will demonize you, will belittle you, will call you every name under the sun. It's crazy, but
even worse, they created this pandemic and then have now written up pandemic treaty that takes the rights of each sovereign government and their country away from how they control and run their countries during a future pandemic. Now, instead of the government being in charge, like the United States government over the U.S., Parliament for the UK, instead of them being in charge, now the World Health Organization gets to mandate lockdowns, restrictions, vaccine mandates, you name it. That's what that pandemic treaty does. You can all, flip a finger to the WHO for all I care. They're freaking disgusting and ridiculous. So anyway, it's just ridiculous. So I will tell you this, it's been very odd. I'm excited you're going to have Peter McCulloch on there. And he's been a great guy. He's here in Dallas. He lives about 20 minutes from me. We've been all over the world together. It feels like, oh my gosh, for the last 4 years. And it's been an honor to be with him. And I will state this. It was very odd. It's very odd to watch this, Charlie. When I started speaking out about the remdesivir protocols in May of 2020, when Anthony Fauci put it on the NIH's website, I hired a publicist that day and sat at my dining room table, did 40 to 50 interviews every day from my dining room table, trying to save lives. And the whole reason why I got involved wasn't to be a public speaker, wasn't to go up on stages, I was actually asked to testify in King's Court in Parliament. I didn't even want to do that. This isn't what I got involved for. They killed my father-in-law with a hospital protocol in February of 2020. that had nothing to do with COVID. They diagnosed him with the flu, which he did not have, and he never tested positive for. They put him on a flu hospital protocol that caused acute kidney failure, filled his lungs with fluid. They call that pulmonary edema, but the hospital called it pneumonia. And then they put on the death certificate that he had pneumonia when he didn't. He was actually being drowned to death with drugs that shut down the kidneys. And as they flood salt water into his veins, the water couldn't go anywhere. So it fills up in his abdomen and his lungs and in his heart, and he drowned to death. Then they put him on morphine and called it palliative care, which is actually euthanizing a human in front of your loved ones. They murdered him in front of us. And ever since then, I have been angry that hospitals will hide behind a protocol and murder your loved one for profit. And when I saw 3 months later in the NIH's website that Anthony Fauci had declared a non-FDA approved drug at the time, remdesivir, to be the only drug to treat COVID-19 patients, and that its toxicity was worse than the drugs they gave my father-in-law, I was pissed and I was angry. And I decided if I couldn't save my own father-in-law, I was going to try to save you at home. So I paid for a publicist, not knowing a soul, and just sat there and did interviews from my dining room table 24/7, 24/7, 24/7. And some people saw my interviews, like Dr. Rainier Fulmick out of Germany, the international attorney. He had me come on to be deposed. We did an interview. It had 100 million views in like 10 days, something crazy. And everybody knew who I was by then. And everybody wanted me to champion for them and educate them and get their loved ones out of hospitals. And it was a huge effort to produce advocacy teams, get lawyers to write documents, put them on a site. I created the Dr. Ardis Show out of all this need of people needing to be educated. It was just a big undertaking. About 6 months ago, Charlie, I'm at an event in St. Louis. Dr. Molly James, a phenomenal hero who went to New York and exposed a lot of fraud in the COVID-19 early pandemic in New York City. She invited me to come to their medical conference, asked me to be one of their first speakers. At the lunch break on the first day, they asked us to come up and take pictures. Get all the docs up on the stage. There's like 30 of us. I'm tall, so they put me right in the middle, in the back. They're like, you right in the middle, Doc. And then Peter McCullough, you stand in front of Dr. Ardis, and you, young lady, stand in front of Dr. Ardis on his right. So Peter's standing right here. Lady's standing right here. This is a neurosurgeon for children, pediatric neurosurgeon, which is a big deal, cutting into brains of babies. This lady just finished her presentation. I've never met her. Peter, I've known for a long time. She looks up at me and she goes, Dr. Ardis, while they're trying to get everybody lined up, I want to just take the moment to say something to you. We've never met, but do you know what a hero you've been for millions of people around the world? She goes, everybody was watching you and you were doing this all by yourself, just doing interview after interview after interview, just flying everywhere. And I said, yeah, I couldn't help it. They killed my father-in-law. And I just looked at him and I looked at her and I said, she goes, well, do you know how many people you've saved around the world? And I said, no, but God, I hope so. I mean, I have no idea. I will never know what the efforts of our attempts are and what years they've reached. Peter McCullough looks at this lady and goes, hey, Doc, hey, do you know when the entire narrative of COVID-19 changed for the medical profession? And they're talking right in front of me on my chest. And she goes, no, I don't, Peter. When was it? And he goes, when that guy started speaking up. And he's pointing at my face when he started speaking out. When he started talking that in the ICUs of our hospitals, they were killing and murdering people for profit. It made all of us go look and see if he was right. And when we saw that he was right, of course we were going to launch telemedicine platforms. And that's why you saw all those things spring up. FLCCC.net, AFLDS.org, MyFreeDoctor.com. They all just blew up. And they all called me and wanted me to help them promote these out-of-the-hospital telemedicine companies, which is great. Save people and don't let them go to the hospital. You can't get remdesivir outside of a hospital. Stay home. You won't get morphine and midazolam there either. So just stay home. You're going to be just fine. So it's been a very, very odd adventure to actually sit back and watch the world react to your messaging. And so many people, thank God, got the message. In order to help people remember the drug remdesivir, I remember coining the phrase on a stage one day. I was like, look, man, if you can't remember the name, because everybody seems to have a hard time repeating it back to me, when someone in a hospital says, we're going to give you a drug that rhymes with this, run, death is near, say no.
Yeah.
Now, Charlie, 6 months ago, I'm reading in the LA Times, a journalist who did not talk to me wrote about two women suing hospitals in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They were suing them because they gave their loved ones remdesivir when they gave them documents that said, we do not consent to having that drug. They gave it to them anyway, and they died. These two wives decided to sue the hospital. The journalist of the LA Times writes, the controversy stems around a drug called remdesivir. otherwise known worldwide as Run, Death is Near. And I was like, oh my God, it worked. They tried to censor our crap. It still got out. LA Times journalist, mainstream, is still writing about it. They couldn't avoid it. So excited, Charlie, for the censorship efforts. And then whatever it was, God, man, humanity, whatever it was, universe that pushed this forward to get in front of so many people's eyes and ears and hearts. What a damn blessing it has been for me personally to watch.
It has. For me, you're still a young man, and the one thing I learned on this journey was that there's a distinct pecking order with doctors. When they start off as young, they look up to their elders, and so on and so on. And you've got the senior doctors and the professors at the top. And I was trying to work out who was getting paid at the top. I spoke to so many young doctors, and they go, well, we've taken advice, obviously, from our seniors, our peers, the men we look up to. And so I looked at you as a young doctor who went, hang on, I don't care what you're saying. I'm going to find out for myself, because you killed my father-in-law. You
have to understand, too, I look very young. I actually don't feel young. I mean, I am young. But I'm actually 47 years old, and I actually had a practice for 20 years. I sold 2 practices. I retired from that. I have 5 children, 4 adults. I mean, I've lived for a while, and I've had a lot of experience working one-on-one with patients, guiding them off of medications and onto more natural homeopathic like healing journeys for 20 years. Reversing autoimmune diseases, you name it. Whatever was being diagnosed in them, I was like, well, do you want me to tell you what's causing it and help you reverse that? Because we have plenty of time to do that. It takes 3 to 6 months usually to reverse anything. I can coach you how to do it. And so it's been a very, very cool thing. I really do think, Charlie, and like you probably, I think you and I have been groomed, led, inspired, nudged our entire life to be ready for this period of time. Because, Charlie, I'm just going to tell you, there hasn't been a second where I have doubted conversing or sharing a message with somebody about something I was uncovering, researching, articulating, deciphering in research studies and science to actually get it to you. Never for a second did I doubt that there was a depopulation agenda, a murdering episode, bribery for murder in hospitals around the world, in nursing homes in the UK. Never did I doubt that for a second. And I have not been afraid at all to tell you this is what's going on. And I'll tell you, Charlie, I never had a media presence during practice. I was so busy with my practices. I never was in the media. I never had a following. I never had a social media post ever. So to watch so many people around the world gravitate to your speaking out and showing the audiences all of the research, all the data, all the government funded data. It's been amazing to watch senators, legislators, parliament members all react to your presentations and a gasp at the information, just like I was. And to them look at me and go, Dr. Ardis, what should we do now with the medical boards, pharmaceutical boards? What do we do with these hospitals? What do we do with these nursing centers? It has been awesome to sue all of them. It's been awesome to pull them all in to the Capitol buildings, the medical boards, pharmacy boards, and educating senators and legislators, along with other MDs, to tell, I'm not an MD, I'm a DC, a chiropractor, but to get all these MDs to tell these senators and legislators and state reps how to hold these people accountable. Oh my gosh, it's been so much fun. And working side by side with senators, it's been very fun.
The good thing is that you and I have not been media trained, so we don't know what we should and shouldn't say. We just say it as it is. You know, I was told in Parliament the other day that you can't say that. It's not parliamentary language. I said, but if somebody lies, but you can't say that. Well, why can't you call somebody a liar if they are a liar? And it's the same with the word propaganda. It's blatant lies, but they give it a nice name, so it doesn't look anywhere near as bad.
Oh, I'll tell you, when I actually came out with the Watch the Water stuff and told everybody, look, you're looking at the wrong people who created the COVID-19 shots. If you don't know where the injuries are coming from, infertility is coming from, go look at the people that made it. Go look in their research studies. They tell you their recipe, what's in it.
Yes.
I mean, I had to have this private conversation with Peter. For 6 months, he was avoiding my stuff, and I pulled him to me, Peter McCullough. I pulled him to me. I was like, hey, man, I need you to open up your phone right now and look up who created the COVID-19 shots. This is a year ago. Look it up, because he couldn't tell me who did it. Look it up. He looks it up. He's like, okay, it's Cataline Carrico and Drew Reisman. I said, good. Now, I want you to take their names, and I want you to go to pubmed.gov, and I want you to paste their names in there. And on your phone, put this words, plus snake venom research. And I want you to see what populates.
Yeah.
He turns to me and goes, Doc, that's 456 research studies. I don't have time to analyze all that. And I said, I didn't ask you to. I expect you, when people ask about venom in the shots, you better be referring them to me.
Yeah.
Don't tell them to dismiss it. You better come tell them to me because I've read them all.
You've done the research.
I took that time. You do that. And then he turns around and goes, hey, do you want to contribute to my book, my next book on vaccines?
Yeah.
I told him, no, I'll write my own book if I need a book. But anyway, you kind of have to do that because you just got to take the time to look. And when you see it and you can explain it, once you can show it, it explains every single injury. Now let's talk about something else. Hot topic. Ready, Charlie?
Go on.
Have you heard, coming out of Europe, actually, but not being sold in Europe, have you heard about the monstrously successful, exciting weight loss diabetes drug called Ozempic?
No.
All right. Well, everybody in the audience needs to know this. So there's a drug company called Novo Nordisk in Europe who is making a drug called Ozempic and Wegovy.
Okay.
However, Europe and all of its countries, none of them have approved their drugs to be given to humans in Europe because they're too toxic and deadly.
Okay.
What I find interesting is that the United States FDA decided to approve that 5 years ago. And now Novo Nordisk, supposedly, as reported on Tucker Carlson last week, Novo Nordisk is making more money than any other company in Europe. And they're mainly selling their drug to the United States. Now, just so everybody knows, I'll do this real quick since maybe in the UK y'all don't know about it, but everybody watching this, if you got a loved one on it, everybody who I talk to in audiences, I go, anybody know anybody on Ozempic? I did it this week in LA. The whole audience raised their hand. Not a single person didn't know somebody on it in America. Once a week injections. It's for weight loss and diabetes, Charlie. And guess what's in the shot?
Snake venom.
Gila monster lizard venom.
Wow.
Out of the deserts of the southwestern part of the United States. So there's a European company is taking Gila monster venom from America, putting it into vials, and then selling it back to Americans to inject themselves with to lose weight and reverse diabetes. You know what's amazing about injecting yourself with Gila monster venom, Charlie?
Go on.
It has a black box warning. Gila monster venom causes every thyroid cancer on Earth within 12 months. You know what's great about Ozempic, everybody listening to me right now? Do you know your medical doctor will tell you the recommended treatment period is your whole life? Every week for the rest of your life is what they tell you? Did you know that within 12 months, you're guaranteed to develop thyroid cancer? Did you know it's also published to cause paralyzed stomachs for years after stopping? Which means you will throw up everything you eat every day, all day for years and years. Did you know it causes acute liver and kidney failure and chronic kidney failure and liver failure? I don't know about you, Charlie, but if I was overweight and diabetic, I'm not really sure thyroid cancer, paralyzed stomachs, liver failure, kidney failure are a better option than just being overweight and a diabetic. I think I'd rather take my chances with being overweight and diabetic. And then I'd like to ask you, Charlie, do you believe there's a human on Earth who is overweight and diabetic because they are Gila monster venom deficient?
I don't think there's anyone that I can remember.
Yeah. Oh, and just, Colorado just reported last week, actually yesterday, a man was walking on a hike through Colorado, happened to get bit by a Gila monster lizard.
Yeah.
And he died.
Okay.
Okay. So don't inject yourself with Gila monster venom, people. Just because they call it Ozempic, Wegovy, or COVID-19 vaccines, it doesn't mean they're safe and not toxic to you. Just because they give it a different name doesn't mean it's not what it is. It is venom, and it's venom in a pill. It's venom in a shot. This is what they're giving you.
For those
just be warned.
Those people who haven't woken up yet, just go to the World Economic Forum website. They want to reduce the population by 95% by 2030. They've already removed 1 billion people, so they're on target. But the question is, because it's the old story what Aaron Antis used to say. During the Holocaust, first of all, they came for the old people, and I wasn't old, so it didn't affect me. And then they came for the those that were terminally ill, and I'm not terminally ill, so it didn't affect me. And then they came for the children, and I'm not a child, so it didn't affect me. And then they came for the Jews, and I'm not Jewish, so it didn't affect me. And then they came for me, and there was nobody left to defend me. And that's where we're at. People are just sitting there going, well, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. I'm happy in my little happy bubble. And, my auntie, she did die a bit young, but it's okay. She left me a few quid.
Oh, I'm so excited you brought this up about the depopulation and the deadly agenda because, and bringing up the World Economic Forum. Did you know that on the World Economic Forum right now, there's actually a article from 2019. I'm going to read, 2018. It's on the World Economic Forum right now. The title of this is, in the section on the World Economic Forum, is titled Future of the Environment. This is the name of the title of their article. These life-saving drugs are made from deadly venom. I quote. This is on the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
You want to know what drugs they're talking about? They're talking about Ozempic from Gila monster venom that is deadly venom and causes thyroid cancer and paralyzed stomachs for millions around the world already. They are talking about high blood pressure drugs. Charlie, did you know people that are swallowing any drug that ends with the abbreviation PRIL, P-R-I-L, like captopril or lisinopril? Did you know that these people are just swallowing snake venom in a pill from a viper in Brazil since 1981? And this is very important. Lisinopril, captopril, it's all made from snake venom. In fact, if you want to know about this, you should probably look up why the World Economic Forum is writing about these articles about these drugs made from deadly venom when their agenda is to depopulate the planet by 95% of people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that they also are producing and are showing here that they are using drugs like Prialt to block pain? And they state here, this drug is made from cone snail venom that's 10 times deadlier than king cobra venom.
Wow.
From cone snails in the ocean. And it actually says on their website right now, there is an estimated 22 million adults in the U.S. who suffer from severe and chronic pain. And Prialt is the answer for them. Oh, really? Conotoxins cause respiratory failure and death by paralyzing your brainstem. So that's a drug. Byetta, another venom drug for diabetes. There's a whole bunch of drugs that they're making from venom. Oh, and just know this. Anybody out there, if you haven't seen this, the FDA just approved after the first clinical human trial, a spider venom topical gel from a spider in Brazil. You take their venom and you put it on your penis. And they said within 10 minutes, some men will get an erection that can last 4 hours. You know what's great about this spider's venom? They publish that if that venom that's on the penis happens to get inside the bloodstream of a person, that venom does these 4 things. It causes seizures, strokes, heart attacks, and death of humans. Okay. Well, y'all need to start questioning why it is all these drugs are being made from venom. Mm-hmm. And venom, just so everybody knows, the problem with venom, even if you think it is therapeutic, and yes, there are many people that do this. In fact, Robert Malone has a patent from 1994 on king cobra venom being injected inside of cancer patients. And I quote, king cobra venom factor is a therapeutic. Oh, really? I thought king cobra venom was deadly. I thought that's why people run from snakes. But there are a lot of people making a lot of money off of drugs and patents for drugs and vaccines from venoms. And like chemotherapy, they're going to sell you the idea that this toxin is a therapeutic, when in fact it is deadly and causes horrific outcomes. Mm-hmm. So you should always doubt the venoms. Now, why is this important? Every drug on earth that is made with venom in it, lisinopril, captopril, Ozempic, you name it. Prialt with that cone snail venom in it, this erectile dysfunction drug they're about to come out with, all these drugs are made from venoms. Charlie, in 1956, there's a guy named Dr. Stanley Cohen and his cohort, Rita. Both of them discovered for the first time ever that mammals and birds, when you expose their bodies to venom from a snake, it will cause cancer in every tissue of that bird or mammal's bodies. And they called this invisible side effect of venom in a bird and mammal, they called it for the brain tumors. Mm-hmm. All they do is expose the mammal or bird to venom, and they would develop a brain tumor. Has anybody heard of turbo cancers lately? There's venom in the shots, people. When you expose people to venoms, they termed the phrase nerve growth factor, which is an invisible aspect of venom that causes nervous system tumors, brain tumors, glioblastomas, spinal cord tumors, multiple myeloma, you name it. Now, In 1961, they published it also causes cancers in all other tissue than the nervous system, these two people, and they called it epidermal growth factor. They figured out you can grow skin cancer on a person if you just put venom on their skin. You can create polycystic ovarian syndrome. You can cause ovarian cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer, kidney cancer, liver cancer, spleen cancer. You can cause any cancer you want as long as you put venom in them. Venom will do it. Now, these two people, Charlie, for figuring out that venom causes cancerous tumors, can you believe that the Nobel Laureate Society decided to give them a Nobel Prize for this in 1986? I'd like to ask all of you at home, why would you give a Nobel Prize in medicine to two people who figured out how to create cancer in people with venom? Y'all should know this. Did you know that guy, Stanley Cohen, went off and consulted a company who started, it's called Genentech, Genentech. Do you know they have 8 drugs right now that are only sold to hospitals around the world for anti-cancer treatment, and they're all made from snake venom?
Wow.
Venom causes cancer. The guy who consulted the company to start it, he knows venom causes cancer. And so these venom-laced drugs, your high blood pressure drug, Ozempic, I just told you it's already got a black box warning to cause cancer. This is very important. Anybody in the world who is right now swallowing high blood pressure drugs called ACE inhibitors, I promise you will develop cancer. I already know you're going to develop cancer. You can't help it. And anybody who's ever had a loved one on high blood pressure medication and later was diagnosed with cancer, just do this. Look up your drug your loved one was on, type in the name of the drug on Google, and hit the plus sign and type in the name of the cancer they were diagnosed with. And you will see every cancer is correlated to every single damn venom drug you've ever swallowed, injected, or put on your skin. They're just feeding a cancer industry.
Yeah. And it's a massive industry.
$1 trillion a year. It's a big one. Yeah.
It is.
Anyway, how was that for an education? Oh, and if you didn't know this, this is phenomenal. Hey, Charlie, do you think anybody out there knows anybody with Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, ulcerative colitis, hypothyroidism, arthritis? You think anybody out there, MS? Think anybody out there in your audience has these things?
Yep, plenty.
Did you know that, let's just destroy this narrative for all of, did you know that nicotine patches are published as cures for all of those I just mentioned?
No.
What about autism? Do you know anybody in the world that has autism or autistic adults now? Did you know they have studies that nicotine patches can reverse the aggressive nature and antisocial behavior of an autistic kid in 7 days?
Really?
That's interesting. How many of your loved ones that have Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia of any kind, depression, hypothyroidism, thyroid hormone imbalance, ulcerative colitis, arthritis, and autism, how many of them have ever been told or prescribed nicotine patches?
None.
0. Why is this a big deal? Because in April of 2020, researchers in France, DNA experts, figured out that COVID was nothing more than little bitty pieces of synthetic snake venom from king cobras and crate snakes in China. They called spike proteins, and they published 4 years ago, April 2020, that the cure for COVID always has been nicotine.
Really?
And nicotine patches, not a joke, January of last year, 2023, some scientists took a whole bunch of long hauler COVID patients around the world and said, let's look at all the worst cases we can find who have tried drugs, rehab stuff, physical therapy, and they haven't improved their symptoms for at least 2 years. And these are the symptoms they had to have. They couldn't sleep through the night. They had insomnia since having COVID. This is a long hauler COVID symptom. They had to have new onset of diabetes, new onset of high blood pressure. They'd have breathing difficulties, loss of taste and smell. They'd have vertigo. They'd have all kinds of stuff. Exercise-induced asthma. There was a whole list of 21 symptoms they'd have. And they had to try everything on earth they could think of, but still have the problems 2 years later. Charlie, they called these people in and picked the 4 worst cases they could find that had the total of these 21 symptoms. And they said, all right, we're going to ask you guys to do one thing for us. You've tried everything you can think of. We want you to just wear a 7 milligram nicotine patch for 6 days. And let's see how many of your symptoms disappear. And then they explained to these people, just so you know, the only reason why we even hypothesize this might work is because 2 labs in 2 countries in the first 6 months of the pandemic did DNA testing and found the spike proteins of COVID were venoms from snakes, and they only bind to nicotine receptors. And they published, this is why smokers don't get COVID, because they already have nicotine in their body. So these researchers in January of 2023 said, we're going to ask you guys who have never used a tobacco product in your life, we're going to ask you to wear a 7 milligram nicotine patch, which is the smallest one they sell in the whole world. We're going to ask you to wear one every day for 6 days, and let's see how many of your symptoms disappear. Charlie, half of all of their symptoms disappeared in day one.
Wow.
All of their symptoms disappeared for the whole group. The last symptom that disappeared was 23 days after starting the 6 days of nicotine patches. Wow. So they only wore nicotine patches for 6 days, but the nicotine was in their body continuing to release the venom proteins from their cells, from their nicotine receptors, and all their symptoms disappeared. 100% of all long hauler COVID symptoms in a peer-reviewed published paper, January 2023. Published, nicotine is the cure for COVID and all long hauler COVID. Now, this is significant because guess what the UK just did?
Go on.
They just announced a new national health agenda for the whole country. Did you know England's not going to be able to buy tobacco products by the year 2030 at all?
Wow.
I wonder why they're going to take that away. I wonder why Joe Biden 2 months ago came out and said, I'm going to be the first president in United States history to lower the amount of nicotine in tobacco products. Oh, yeah. I wonder why you're doing that. Then Canada, Australia, New Zealand all said the same thing. New Zealand, though, was a little bit ambitious. They said, we're going to do it by the year 2025. And the whole world got upset in New Zealand. So they backed off and said, okay, we'll do 2030 like the rest of them. Okay, there's a reason they got to bastardize nicotine. And for the rest of you out there who are wondering, I wonder if this will work for me, and I'm still struggling with brain fog, and I can't breathe, I walk upstairs, I'm still struggling since I had COVID. You need to try nicotine. But before you do, I need to make something very clear. Nicotine is not addictive. And Harvard University proved it in 2015. And when they figured out they couldn't make any animals addicted to nicotine when they've been told their whole life that nicotine's addictive, they did FOIA requests with the FDA, and the FDA sent them all R&D, research and development papers for the tobacco giants since 1970. Guess what Harvard found in those papers? That the tobacco industry knew from the 1970s that nicotine wasn't addictive and that their products were not addictive. So they hired marketing consultants and chemists to come in, and the chemists that were involved told them, if you will just add pyrazines, a man-made chemical, to the tobacco product, anything a human consumes will be addicted.
Correct.
Or addictive. So pyrazines, there's currently right now the FDA allows 13 different pyrazines in every tobacco product, but they still don't tell you pyrazines make it addictive. They only tell you nicotine does, but nicotine doesn't do it. Nicotine has never been addictive. And for anybody out there wondering, if I try these nicotine patches to help me, is it going to work? Am I going to get addicted to it? No, you won't. Not a single human's ever been addicted to nicotine patches. Ever, never, ever, ever, ever. In fact, in this study that I mentioned from January 2023, the authors actually made a note to this. They said, we know that most of the world believes that nicotine's addictive. We have found not a single one of our patients in this study ever had the dependency for nicotine patches after they stopped. They never once thought they needed it, wanted to take it, had night sweats, had withdrawal symptoms of any kind, and they said this is not to be expected. Charlie, did you know that tobacco plants are not the only plant that has nicotine in it?
Go on. I didn't know.
Did you know that the second highest plant on Earth with nicotine in it is eggplants?
Really?
Yeah. Did you know the third highest containing nicotine plant on Earth is red tomatoes?
Really?
Mm-hmm. Did you know that green tomatoes have 10 times more nicotine than a red tomato?
I didn't know.
Did you know that celery, cauliflower, bell peppers, white potatoes all have nicotine in them? Did you know every nightshade vegetable like zucchini, squashes, all of them have nicotine in them?
No.
Now, I'd like to ask you, Charlie, have you ever eaten cauliflower, celery, white potatoes, bell peppers, tomatoes, or zucchini?
Yes.
After you ate them, did you wake up in the middle of the night with sweats that you needed a eggplant break the next day at work because you were addicted to the nicotine in the plant?
No.
Or you needed a celery break?
No.
No, there's a reason. You've all eaten nicotine implants your whole life, and you've never been addicted to any of those single vegetables. You want to know why? Because it's not addictive. And if God put it in tobacco and then in your vegetables, which are healthy for you, why did God put it in there if you didn't need it? Mm-hmm. And why did he put nicotine receptors on every cell of your body? Did you know that they actually just reversed last year brain tumors using nicotine alone? Did you know they took glioblastomas, the most common brain tumor on earth, and in 72 hours could dissolve the whole brain tumor with just nicotine?
Really?
Yeah, really. Did you know, I mentioned here, you can reverse Parkinson's, autism. Did you know that they published recently that Parkinson's can be slowed or reversed just by eating food that has nicotine in it? Did you know that smokers that are identical twins, they've already published these studies for the whole world. They've actually taken identical twins all around the world, and they surveyed them all. They wanted to know how many of them have developed Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, MS. Did you know the only identical twin that never got Parkinson's was the smokers?
Wow. Yeah.
And supposedly this is a genetic disorder. Genetic. But they're identical twins. Mm-hmm. So how is the identical twin not getting the genetic disease? Yeah. Nicotine is the protective agent in those that are smoking and using snuff or using dip or whatever. Yeah. You don't need to smoke. I don't really like smoking, but nicotine patches, gum pouches, you need to look at this. This is a huge win. And I will just tell you guys, I was asked to go to LA this weekend and actually present how nicotine is a nutrient and it heals the body and can prevent and recover people even from the most recent pandemic. Well, I took it a step further. I showed why the FDA lied since 1994 and had to lie about nicotine being addictive for the whole world, and how it is that all of America fell for the lie. 1994, 51% of all Americans, adults, were smokers. That's when they started telling people nicotine was addictive and caused cancer and blah, blah, blah. 26 years later is the year 2020, the start of the pandemic. Only 11% of American adults were smoking then. Wow. 40% of all adults in America stopped smoking. Those 26-year runway, Charlie, was what they needed to make as many adults in America susceptible to their venom spike protein laced virus they called COVID. Mm-hmm. And if those people weren't going to get sick and half of America was still smoking, half of America would have never gotten COVID. Half of America would have never signed up for the vaccine, and they would have been looking around, puffing their cigarettes going, what's wrong with all these people that don't smoke? Yeah. It would have been a very obvious problem. So they had to lie. Like Joseph Goebbels of the Nazi Germany said, you referenced the Holocaust earlier. I started my entire presentation with this. Joseph Goebbels, the father of propaganda for the Third Reich, he said, if you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, the people will eventually believe it. Yeah. And this is no different. You want to know why you keep hearing that vaccines and drugs are safe and effective? If you keep repeating the lie over and over and over, eventually people believe it. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I can't believe 5 billion people fell for it, Charlie. 5 billion people fell for it. Yeah. Why? You believe the lie. Why? Because the human mind, Nazi war criminals figured out, you just lie to them and repeat it over and over and over and over and over and over and over, but you never tell them why you're lying. It's pretty impressive, that quote. He goes on to say that in order for the state to maintain the lie, they have to repress dissent and never let it get out what is the economical, political, and military consequences of the lie. And as a result, the truth becomes the enemy of the lie. Yeah. And thus, the truth becomes the enemy of the state. Thus, why they had censorship on remdesivir, midazolam in the UK, the masks, the vaccines, the COVID-19, spike proteins, you name it, all of it. Nicotine. Why does they had to lie all the time to repress dissent? They had to do everything in their power to repress us and censor us. And thank God so many people still got the message, Charlie. Proud of you, brother.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. We've been out there fighting. I have one particular guy, he calls himself the chief of police in America. I forget which state he claims to be, but he's announced that I've been dead 5 times and he's given up with that now. Now he's asking people for money. claiming to be me, but asking people for money. This is how desperate these people are. They're absolutely crazy. Most of them are either bots or trolls or paid idiots. But look, we're winning. We're upsetting them, and
we are winning. Look, we won. 99% of all people that got COVID lived, Charlie. 99%. Yeah. Can you imagine spending billions of dollars, Charlie, on a biological weapon for decades?
Yeah.
Releasing it on the whole world, and 99% of all of them still survived?
Yeah. Yeah.
All those people should be fired, thrown into a sewer, thrown into a funeral, whatever, burned at the stake for failing their agenda, which was to poison us all. God wins, humanity won, and I believe God's greatest creation, the human body, survived the poisoning for the 99% plus.
So we've got to be thankful for a number of the military who managed to switch the vials to placebos from the ones that were killing people. And God knows who they were. And also the German lady doctor who switched 6,200 vials and won her case in court.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
God knows those people who've stood up, and you've stood up, and I've stood up, and
you have too.
Stood up together. And the one thing is that when we're backstage together, we're on the same frequency, completely different worlds, different professions, but the same frequency. We love God, and we love life, and we want to preserve life. And when you're surrounded by people that are like-minded like that, we have some good times. I'm looking forward. I'm coming back in April. I'm going to Mar-a-Lago first of all, and then on to Nashville. Then I go down to Brazil and Sao Paulo. So
that's awesome.
It's amazing. It's an incredible journey right now.
Well, I'll be in London April 12th through the 13th, 14th, 15th, somewhere in there. And I'll be doing presentations there in London. That'll be very exciting. Man.
So that's when I'm in Mar-a-Lago.
No, that's awesome. Well, if anybody wants to hang out with me in England, I'll be there. Come check us out.
Be always good to see you, but thank you so much. An absolute mind of information, and very, very good information for my audience.
Charlie, I'm proud of you, buddy. Thank you for trying to help so many people around the world financially, spiritually, physically. It's been an honor to hang out with like-minded humanitarians who actually just love being alive and love their brothers and sisters on earth that maybe they would have never met. And I just can't stand people lying to people and knowing those lies will inflict physical harm on those people. I cannot. There's some line in the sand I must have drawn in my spirit a long time ago, but you can lie to people just to protect your ego. But once it injures another soul or physical human, I do not tolerate that whatsoever. So I had no idea this spark was going to be lit when I was reading Anthony Fauci's memo, May of 2020. But man, it was like every cell in my body was charged at 1,000 miles an hour, and I had to hire a publicist, and it took 5 minutes. I couldn't even wait. I was doing interviews within an hour. I couldn't help it, and I've been doing it ever since. So it's been an honor to get to know you, Charlie. I miss not seeing you every month.
Yeah, I miss you. I'm so proud to call you a friend. I found a real friend in you, and we just enjoy each other's company and share information and try and save lives.
There's actually many times people have asked me, do you know Charlie Ward? And I'll go, man, I love that guy. You have an incredible personality, smile, laughter. You can laugh at all the BS and give hope to people just through that smile, that incredible personality. Love it. Thank you very much.
Oh, you, Brian. You're a dynamo of energy. Good man.
Thank you very much. You too, buddy.